The gift is a mysterious power granted when a child turns 15 years old. It is said that one's gift can completely change the bearer's life. And here's the heroine of our story, Charlotte, who is currently pulling a long face. Her father approaches her, asking why she looks so worried when it's her birthday. Besides, they're going to have her gift evaluated soon, and that's when she tells him that she's feeling anxious. She's scared because she might get kicked out of the house if she receives such a useless gift. Her father laughs, assuring her not to worry because it won't happen. Spoiler alert, it does happen. Anyway, her father continues that getting kicked out happens to knights or peasants anyway, for whom the gift is a matter of fate. For nobles like them, the patriarch says gifts aren't that important. So whatever gift Charlotte may receive, he will never kick her out of the house. That's what he said. Cut to the next scene. As Charlotte finally receives her gift, the priest, or maybe the appraiser, reveals that her gift is called Monster Eater. This grants her the ability to eat monsters deliciously, and it's said that the more monsters she eats, the stronger she will become. Her father, on the other hand, was close to passing out once he heard his daughter's gift. Charlotte is still processing what was said to her, but her old man can't take it anymore. What a vulgar and disgusting gift, he cries aloud. The poor guy is going through the most invalid crash out in history, saying that someone with such a gift like that in their home is unthinkable in House Marquis Nevi. Our dignity will plummet, he laments. The priest tries to hand Charlotte's gift evaluation certificate, but the Marquis swats the document away. Charlotte barely had the chance to finish the word father when her old man instantly cast her away from their home. The gate of House Nevi closes on Charlotte's face as she's left with just one bag as her luggage. So much for him saying he won't cast her out, huh? Charlotte drops her bag on the ground as reality hits her. She got kicked out of the house. She turns, facing the forest, wondering what to do next. Whatever it is, she just needs to cross the forest first to get to the city. From what she heard, monsters appear here or something along those lines. Honestly, she's scared, but at the same time her stomach is grumbling. So, what's a girl to do? In the end, she frolics straight to the forest with reckless abandon, thinking that she should just head to one of the city's restaurants and have a meal there. This silly girl really believes that monsters won't show up that easily. Wrong! 5 minutes later, we hear her cry of terror in the woods because who would have thought an actual monster would show up? Charlotte is on her butt, frantically trying to scramble away from the monsters in front of her. If she remembers correctly, this thing is called a slime, a blob of mucus. If it swallows her, then she'll be eaten whole. Wait a minute, her gift? What if she uses her ability Monster Eater right now? Charlotte imagines herself taking a juicy bite out of the slime, and she pales at the idea. She can't do it. And what will she do? The slimes are increasing in number. This is it, she's going to die here of all places on her birthday. She just got kicked out and she couldn't even use her gift. She doesn't have a spoon or fork in her belongings, and she doesn't even know of a way to fight. Wait, yes she does! Charlotte is reminded of her early education, where her instructor taught her 2 simple magic spells to protect herself. As the first slime jumps in to attack her, Charlotte raises her hands and cries, "Poochie ice!" Sparks illuminated her hand and the slime that attacked her was frozen. Yay! She did it! She hit it with magic and it worked. It's all thanks to her private tutor. There was another spell, but before she could say it, Charlotte noticed something weird about that slime she had just iced. The other slimes huddle in a group as Charlotte sees a sorbet present itself to her. Hey, how did this happen? Charlotte takes the dessert in her hands, all while the slime colony watches her curiously. Wait, could it be that the Monster Eater ability that allows her to eat monsters deliciously means that the monster she defeated will turn into gourmet dishes? Oh ho! She didn't expect this. Looking at the sorbet up close, Charlotte finds it looks so delicious. However, eating monsters is tacky, isn't it? Charlotte looks at the group of slime next to her and back to the sorbet until her stomach starts grumbling again. In the end, she decided to take just one bite, but lo and behold, it's so delicious. Charlotte can't believe how tasty this sorbet is. It has a gentle chill and a crisp and refreshing texture. There's a refined, delicate sweetness, and before she realized it, she was gobbling the dessert one spoonful after the other. Ultimately, Charlotte decided to eat it all. She finished the dessert quickly, thankful for the delicious food, but it wasn't enough. She turned to the slimes on the ground, but now she can only see these terrifying slime creatures as tasty sorbet. You bet your butt she poochie iced the remaining slimes before her. Charlotte happily sits, nursing her satisfied tummy, surrounded by empty dessert cups. As she dabs her lips, she thinks she might have eaten about 20 of those sorbets. But more importantly, she's starting to get used to using magic, and she's also starting to understand her Monster Eater ability. Simply put, if she defeats the monsters using magic, they turn into food, but not just any food. They turn into gourmet dishes. As for the magic Charlotte uses, she has Poochie Ice and a fire-type spell called what else? Poochie Fire. But it seems that if the magic doesn't match the monster's type, it won't turn into food. Earlier, she expected something to appear when she used Poochie Fire on a slime, but she just ended up wasting a slime for nothing. because the sorbet didn't appear when she defeated it using Poochie Fire. Speaking of Poochie Fire, Charlotte hoped to use that magic to cook food too. She'd love to eat something warm. Just then, Charlotte hears a voice in her ears. "By eating the monster, your level increased," the voice said. "Ate 21 slimes, predation bonus. Defense increased by 105. It continued, startling Charlotte. What was that ringing in her ears? She heard level defense mentioned, but what do these things even mean? Charlotte doesn't understand anything at all, and it terrifies her. Dear viewers, please be aware that the noble lady Charlotte has no knowledge of adventurer technology. Well, once she reaches the city, she'll just ask someone to explain it to her. But these stones, they appeared after she defeated the slime monster. Charlotte wonders what those are since they're so pretty. She was admiring one up close, saying she's still feeling hungry after eating all that sorbet, when she heard a growl a few inches from her face. Our heroine stares ahead, and to her shock, there's a dread wolf right in front of her. The wolf is snarling and lunges straight at the unguarded miss. She screams and holds her arm up in defense, but the dread wolf has already sunk its canine teeth in her arm, but Charlotte doesn't feel any pain. Maybe this monster is just trying to play, no? Unknown to her, Charlotte's defense saved her from the pain since she got a 105-point bonus. Now that she's over the initial shock and horror looking at this monster, Charlotte wonders if it will turn into food if she defeats it. But wait, she can't eat such a cute and innocent monster, all while the wolf continues to gnaw on her forearm. Before she can stop it, the image of steaks and meat is already clouding her mind. But no, it would be way too cruel to kill this doggy. In the end, her hunger won her over, and Charlotte blasts the wolf with her Poochie Fire. Ta-da! She now has a plate of T-bone steak in her hands. It smells so good. She cuts a small piece, laughing at herself because who was it saying a minute ago that she was full from sorbet? That was a lie. Bon appetit, she says before taking a bite of the steak. It tastes so good that she can't find the words to even speak. This dish is more tender and juicier than the steak slices the palace chef used to prepare. At the same time, it has a pure and light flavor, that's it. She decided she's going to eat it all. Charlotte finished the T-bone steak in no time at all, thankful for the food she had eaten. If she were at home, she would know for sure that her father would scold her and say, "This is improper behavior." Suddenly, she hears that same ringing in her ears as earlier, with the voice saying, "Level up after eating the monster. Acquired permanent skill? Sensing. Dreadwolf hunt bonus." Sensing. What is this new sound in her ear? From afar, Charlotte can hear shuffling, making her look around warily at all these sounds she's suddenly hearing around her. Are these the footsteps of monsters or a feeling of their presence? Does this mean that when she eats delicious meat, even her hearing will improve? Is this also part of her monster eater ability? Charlotte decides to put her hand over her ear to listen more intently to the sounds. She can hear the footsteps of a wolf several meters away, which means there's still more food waiting for her. Back at the Nevi mansion, the maid asks Charlotte's father what he plans to do with the gift evaluation certificate they received from the assessor. The patriarch is nursing a drink, angered at the mention of that certificate for Charlotte's vulgar gift. He orders the former to get rid of it at once since they have no need of such a thing. But the maid hesitates to do so and remains holding Charlotte's certificate. So let's talk about Charlotte Nevi's gift, Monster Eater. It allows the monsters she defeats to become deliciously edible, and her power increases the more monsters she consumes. Her level increases by 1 for each monster defeated, and additional skills or magic can be gained as bonuses. On that day, a beginner adventurer defeated a goblin and reached level 2. Meanwhile, another adventurer fought in a dungeon, and after a long and hard battle, he finally reached level 10. Then there's Charlotte Nevi. By simply spending a few minutes eating 2 bowls of slime sorbet and now munching on a T-bone steak from a dreadwolf, she easily managed to climb ranks and reach level 24. Thanks to the effect of Monster Eater, she surpassed the level of ordinary adventurers just by eating. On top of that, she even gained new skills. As Charlotte took the last bite of her T-bone steak, she heard the voice in her ears say she received a Dreadwolf Hunt bonus. According to the voice, her permanent sensing skill evolved to level 2. Ordinary adventurers would rejoice upon hearing something like that, but not Charlotte. She covers her ears, distressed because would this ringing in her ears ever stop? Just then, she noticed that the plates and cutlery vanished as soon as she finished eating, leaving her pleased. At least no need to Claygo. She looks up to the night sky, thinking that there's still so much she doesn't know about this gift, but she had no idea monsters could be this delicious. She's excited and has decided that from now on she's going to hunt lots of tasty monsters and devour them with a great appetite. She continues munching on the T-bone steak, thinking that she needs to get to the city first because she's still homeless after all. Charlotte carefully wanders further into the woods, and right now she's in the middle of tracking a strange presence she can clearly sense. Just a while ago, she ate the meat of a dreadwolf, and can you imagine? She had 6 full plates of it. She couldn't help it, the taste was irresistible, so she lost control and overate. But what's even stranger is that she never gets tired of monster meat no matter how much she eats. Plus, the more she eats, the sharper and more sensitive her ears become. Now she can sense monsters from nearly a kilometer away. Clueless Charlotte doesn't know that it's all thanks to the Dreadwolf Predation bonus, Sensing, which is now level 2. Charlotte's current concern, though, is that there's a stronger than usual feeling. It's like a heavy, mysterious energy unlike any other monster. Plus, it's not moving at all. Of course, she's irresistibly curious about it, which is why she decided to follow through. She'll just take a look, she won't eat anything, promise. After a few more steps, she finally pinpoints the location. It's coming from beneath her feet. After a few rummaging and rustling, Charlotte manages to find the entrance of a cave. Since it's too dark, she grabs a piece of wood and uses Poochie fire to light it. But is it her? Or has her little flame gotten stronger? She brushes it off, thinking it must be because she's in top condition after all that meat. Girl, you are level 28. Be for real. To continue, she ventures inside the cave and chances upon a treasure chest. Charlotte kneels right in front of it, despite feeling something strange, like there's a weird energy emanating from it. This clueless girl has absolutely no sense of danger or self-preservation. After all, this looks like just a normal treasure chest. As she was about to put her hand over it to check its contents, the treasure suddenly lunged at her with its sharp teeth, ready to eat her up. Charlotte made a run for it, but the monster treasure chest kept chasing her even as she got out of the cave. The panicked Charlotte looks back in horror, wondering what that is, when she trips and falls flat on her face. Oh no, the monster took this opportunity to leap high in the air and eat her. "Stay away from me!" she cries, extending her hand outright as she unleashes Poochie fire directly into the monster. The poor girl was so scared she was already crying, vowing never to go anywhere near treasure chests ever again, but her terror subsided once she noticed something. What's that delicious smell? Right in front of her is a new dish, and she quickly grabs the plate. Can treasure chests be eaten? What shape was it again? Oh, it's an oyster. This is a butter-sautéed oyster. But does that mean the monster was covered in a wooden box instead of a shell? Such a strange creature that one is. Instead of gobbling the food, our heroine is torn because she promised herself she wouldn't eat any more monsters today, but then again she ran a lot, so she also lost a lot of calories. "I'll eat it now," she happily chirps. One bite was all it took for Charlotte to get so drawn into this delicious taste. The flavor floods her mouth, and it's no less tasty than fillet slices. There's also the rich, buttery aroma that stimulates her appetite more and more. This butter-sautéed oyster is the perfect meal to end the day. She's grateful for the food, just as the voice informs her that her level has increased again after consuming the monster. By now, Charlotte has gotten used to this ringing in her ears, and she heard the voice say that she receives a predation bonus from the rare monster Mimic. The rare skill she acquired is Auto Counter. Ooh, rare skill, that's a new term for her, and like before, she has no idea what this all means. What she does know is that the voice always kept saying that there's an increase. Our dear Miss Heroine walks over to the nearest tree with a hollowed-out trunk. A lot of things happened today, and she feels pretty exhausted. Since it's getting dark, she decides to rest now and prepare for tomorrow. Will she be okay sleeping here safely? Later that night, multiple shadows dart straight to where Charlotte is sleeping, but curiously enough, they are sent flying back. What the hell just happened? The following morning, Charlotte stretches her arms out wide, feeling energized and refreshed because she slept so well, but what's this? She didn't notice that there were so many things on the ground where she slept. She must not have noticed them since it was too dark last night. Anyway, today she'll definitely head to the city. To her surprise, the path before her is open. She looks left and right, wondering if she followed this road. Could it lead her to the city? And yes, it did. She must have gotten closer to the city while she was escaping from the treasure chest monster last night. Now, to the inn. No, first things first. Charlotte asks a passerby if he knows a place nearby where she could eat. The young man points to a building just right over there, saying there's a restaurant inside. His companion scolds him and was about to say something more, but Charlotte was already running straight to the place. She enters the building and admits that she didn't expect that she'd be able to order this here since it's something that she really, really loves. Yet here it is. A sandwich. She's so glad she brought her allowance along with her because she can afford this sandwich. Sure, she's full from eating all those monster meats, but her craving for a sandwich is on a whole different level. Charlotte takes one bite and once again, she falls in love with the delicious and irresistible taste. As usual, she has nothing but good things to say about the food she's eating, going off in her mind about how the flavor is unbelievable. This is a great pick for a restaurant, she thought. Speaking of, she doesn't even know the establishment's name yet, so she reaches out to the next table, asking them what the name of the place is. That's when the random extra told her that this place is called the Adventurers Guild. Charlotte echoes the name, while the other guy wonders what a young lady like her is doing in a place like this. But Charlotte is no longer listening to him. What a weird name for a restaurant, she thought. Obviously, this place is no restaurant. The Adventurers Guild is an official center for adventurers and usually has a restaurant or tavern beside the main office. With that said, it's not a restaurant in the proper sense. So back to Charlotte. She looks around and notices that there are a lot of armed people here, and it gets her thinking that this place must be dangerous. There's no doubt public eateries are like this, she thought. Girl, they're not. Dangerous or not, she has become totally addicted to the restaurant's sandwich. She gets up from her seat and approaches the front desk since she's already wanted to try something at public restaurants. She signals for the lady behind the desk and makes a card hand sign, telling the latter that she wants to make a card. In her mind, what Charlotte wants is a point card. Her maid back at the family house told her before that when you collect points, your rank goes up, or you can request secret menu items. The lady at the counter looks back at Charlotte asking, "A card? Did Charlotte say she wants to make a card?" Sure, the lady can make one for our heroine. She hands Charlotte a document instructing her to fill out the form, which our heroine dutifully does. The process is quick because a few moments later, Charlotte is finally holding her very own card points. In reality, this is actually an adventurer's card, and it's like a license for adventurers, not a point card. She promises to come by regularly, and the lady is just happy to have a new adventurer unknowingly join them. She also tells Charlotte that if she brings them monster materials as proof of her kills, they will upgrade her rank. Did this lady just say monster materials? Wait a minute, she rummages through her bags, remembering the items from this morning. She drops them all on the counter, asking the lady if those are the things she meant. The latter is shocked at the number of items Charlotte brought. They've never had anyone show up with that many materials right after registering. But Charlotte's just happy that she finally discovered something new today. So those stones are considered monster materials, huh? Each time she defeated a monster, it dropped something. So she picked it up, and it looks like she did the right thing. The lady at the counter wants to confirm first if Charlotte really killed all these monsters by herself. She asks our heroine if she could say status open, so they can see her status screen. Charlotte did as she was told, and as soon as she said it aloud, she saw a screen pop up before her. Living a sheltered life, she has no idea what all those numbers on the prompt mean, while the other lady can't believe her eyes. This girl is level 29? Her hand flies straight to cover her own mouth, apologizing for speaking loudly about someone else's level. But that's the thing, Charlotte has no idea what this level is that they speak of. The front desk lady dramatically explains that a level is the identity of the adventurer that symbolizes all their accomplishments. Even she has a hard time explaining what it is, and poor Charlotte doesn't understand her explanation at all. Anyway, the front desk lady confirmed that the materials Charlotte brought really came from the monsters she killed by herself. She also apologized for doubting our heroine, but the latter is just glad that everything worked out. Now then, it's time to check the materials. The lady notices that one of the items looks like a metal piece. Oh, that one. Charlotte explains that one came from a monster that looked like a treasure chest, you know, like a clamshell. She found it in one of the caves in the western forest and was doing that click-clack opening-closing thing. What, a treasure chest? Do you mean a mimic? The lady couldn't believe what she just heard in the first place. How did Charlotte even find such a rare monster? Well, Charlotte says she has very sharp ears and she sensed the monster's presence, so she tracked it down until she found it. The front desk lady is going gaga over this because there are no reports of mimics in this region, and yet Charlotte found and defeated a monster that no adventurer in this city could locate. She starts furiously noting the items Charlotte brought, as well as the newly registered adventurer's achievement. Meanwhile, our heroine looks at the other girl wordlessly, thinking that the waitress looks very happy. Girl, she's not a waitress. Anyway, based on the materials as proof, she hands Charlotte a new card promoting her to silver rank. To be fair, they never had a promotion on the same day of registration before. Wow! Charlotte takes the card gleefully. It's shining, she says about the card. The lady shows her the other cards, saying, after silver comes gold, platinum, pearl, and then diamond. Charlotte has her eyes set on the diamond, claiming she likes that one the most. The front desk lady only smiles at her, fully believing that our heroine can reach that tier in no time. Their conversation got cut short because suddenly, a sketchy-looking man with grimy hair approached Charlotte. This man fully believes that our little miss is actually using her money to raise her rank. You can't cheat like that, he says slyly. Since Charlotte is also wearing fancy clothes, the man deduced that she must be from a rich family. The materials? Obviously, Charlotte bought them with money. Charlotte has never been confronted like this in her whole life, though she did tell him that the front desk had just confirmed that she gathered all these materials by herself. The man refused to believe that, saying Charlotte must have bribed them or something. A low-paid receptionist is easy to sway with gold, he says. Suddenly, he's Mr. Righteous, saying aloud how people who cheat need to be punished. For her punishment, the man wants Charlotte to hand over every valuable she has and leave it there. This sketchy dude confidently says he's a level 8 adventurer, so he's sure Charlotte will feel the overwhelming difference in their power. Instead of being intimidated, Charlotte moved closer, asking if he was familiar with this level thing she had been hearing. If he is, then could he be nice enough to explain it to her? Is level 8 considered high or low? Is something good supposed to happen when you're level 8? She asks cluelessly. But this only angered the man. He raises his fist and is about to punch her, forcing Charlotte to surrender the money. The receptionist calls out to our heroine, but it's too late for Charlotte to evade his attack. She just closed her eyes and braced for impact when she heard a familiar voice say, "Rare skill activated, auto counter." The man hits the invisible barrier that appeared before Charlotte, and upon impact, he is sent flying straight to the fountain outside. Charlotte peeks with one eye, and this is the part where we explain her rare skill. Auto counter activates when the user receives a physical attack. It automatically and doubly reflects the attack back at the enemy, which is exactly what happened last night while Charlotte was sleeping in the forest. Suffice it to say that it's a rare skill that shows its true power in battle. Everyone in the cavern stood shocked, even more so Charlotte. What just happened? She asks herself. Charlotte stares at the man who had just been harassing her not 2 seconds ago. She thought for sure that the guy raised his fist ready to hit her, but all of a sudden he was all the way over there. That's it. The guy flew away on his own. Our clueless heroine really had no idea that her auto counter literally activated on its own. Her pondering gets cut short when the receptionist starts cheering for her. "As expected of Miss Charlotte," she says. Even she has no idea what happened, a sentiment Charlotte shared. Even though Charlotte admits that she didn't do anything, the other lady thought that the former was just practicing exaggerated modesty. Anyway, that man who was harassing her earlier was actually an adventurer. But the thing is, he keeps repeating annoying actions, thus causing the guild a lot of trouble. With that said, she's just thankful that Charlotte helped them out on that one. Oh, since they're already at it, the receptionist lady asks Charlotte if she's interested in taking on a quest, motioning to the bulletin board as she says so. The latter turns her attention to the board, while the other lady explains that those are monster-slaying requests. Quests are accepted from the Adventurers Guild, and when they defeat the specific monster in the quest, they receive a reward. However, she warns Charlotte to be careful since if they slay the monster before accepting the quest, then she won't get the reward. Killing monsters for a reward? What a strange restaurant, Charlotte thought. She is curious about the kind of rewards they offer. Maybe restaurant discount coupons, no? This girl really thinks that the Adventurers Guild is just a restaurant with a dining hall. She finds the system interesting, but sorry, Charlotte will have to turn it down. She tells the receptionist that she won't accept any requests, prompting the latter to ask why. Well, it's simply because Charlotte likes to decide for herself which monster she wants to kill. For one, she just doesn't like being told who to fight. That's simply unacceptable for her. Truth be told, Charlotte admits to herself that she's a pretty selfish person. When it all comes down to it, she sees monsters as her meals, and at the very least, she wants to choose her own menu at least. The receptionist was about to talk her into it using the rewards, when suddenly, an adventurer came rushing into the guild bearing bad news. The Grand Boar is destroying the northern fields. The two ladies turn to the guy with the receptionist alarmed at such ill news. The Grand Boar is a giant monster shaped like a wild boar. It's classified as a boss-level monster and possesses unmatched offensive and defensive power. They say even if 100 regular-level adventurers face this monster, half of them would die. News of the Grand Boar's rampage is enough to put most of the adventurers in distress. One claims that anyone who faces such a monster is bound to die, but on the other hand, if they ignore it, it will completely destroy the field. From there, a food crisis will break out and many townspeople will die of hunger. The situation is dire, no matter how much one looks at it. Still, all they could do was wait, since in a few hours, an official quest to defeat it would be issued. For now, they think it would be best to just eat in preparation for the battle, since this might as well be their last meal. Speaking of meals, one of the adventurers mentioned how he has always wanted to taste Grand Boar meat because they say it's unbelievably delicious. And those few sentences were enough to get Charlotte's attention. She grows serious, thinking of this monster with delicious meat. She remembers how even the wolf monster, when cooked with her gift, became an incredibly tasty steak. So what about meat that's already rumored to be delicious? What could possibly happen to that? Okay, she has decided. Charlotte asks the receptionist where she needs to go to reach the northern fields. The latter is kind enough to point out the location on the map, and that's all Charlotte needs. She grabs the map, saying she'll head out now, but not before asking the receptionist if she could hold onto her bag. In our heroine's mind, she had heard the words food crisis and death earlier, but she had forgotten what was said. The receptionist warns her that going alone is dangerous, and there hasn't even been a quest issued yet. But Charlotte is already making her way to the door, saying she can't wait for things like that. Our clueless heroine is determined to be the first to taste Grand Boar meat. The reception misinterprets Charlotte's gesture, thinking the former actually cares so much for the city that she's willing to go this far. Meanwhile, at the northern fields, a lone but giant figure can be seen over the crops. It stomps its hooves, munching on the produce without a care in the world. It's the Grand Boar. And right beside this intimidating creature, there's Charlotte, standing in awe of the giant monster. What did we tell you? She has zero sense of danger. but it's not surprising given her ability. The grand boar starts stomping its hooves more intensely, causing the ground to shake as it did. But what should Charlotte do? The monster is way bigger than she expected, towering over her like this. And do you know what her concern is? It's the idea that she can't finish all this meat by herself, that's what. Oh no, what to do? What to do? All she sees is a massive steak named Grand Boar. The Grand Boar blows through its nose, sending a strong gust of wind that is enough to break tree trunks due to its sheer force. But not Charlotte, though. She just got out of balance and fell on her butt. The worst for her is that her bangs got blown off. Even the Grand Boar is surprised at this girl. But compared to the boar's threat, Charlotte finds being chased by the box monster much scarier. She stands and dusts herself off, thinking that she has fought so many monsters and gained enough experience. Even with a huge size difference, Charlotte believes she'll be fine. Plus, she already came up with a solid plan. Monsters die when they get hit by magic. That's the common weakness of all monsters, so even if the monster is huge, she's pretty sure that it's the same. In other words, attacking first is the secret to victory. If she hits it with magic before it attacks her, then victory is hers. And if she hits it with magic, she can already see that it will turn into a steak, making her mouth water. But to her surprise, the Grand Boar comes charging straight toward her. Eh? The boar attacked first? Oh no, she won't make it in time if she casts a spell now. Charlotte panics when she hears the voice in her ear saying, Auto defense skill, auto counter activated. The automatic counterattack skill, as the name suggests, reflects the blow automatically with double the force when the user receives a physical attack. Suddenly, an invisible barrier appears that sends the Grand Boar flying to Kingdom Come. Again, Charlotte is left dumbstruck at how the boar flew away on its own. What in the world is going on? Is the monster toying with me? She asks, confused at this sudden development. And there's also the strange ringing in her ears again. Never mind that, at least she's saved. The Grand Boar finally came crashing down not far from where she's standing. And even though Charlotte doesn't fully understand what happened, now's her chance. She puts both her hands up and activates Poochie Fire, barbecuing the Grand Boar as she does so. Ha! It's just as she thought. All monsters go down when they get hit by magic. She beams, thankful for how useful magic is. Just then there's a poof from the monster and Charlotte stares excitedly at the huge chunks of barbecued pork steak before her. She already has her cutlery in hand, staring starry-eyed at the delicious meal before her, but what does she do now? Charlotte doesn't think she can eat all of this by herself. Well, she decides she'll just divide it up and keep the rest, thinking she'll share it with the others once they arrive. Hoarding isn't a good thing after all, plus good food tastes even better when shared with others. But before that, she takes a bite, instantly lighting up as soon as she does so. The rumors are true. Grand Boar meat really is delicious. She has never tasted meat like this before. Juices burst from every single bite as expected from meat that's said to be exquisite. It's so tender it feels as if she's drinking it. Her hands move on their own and she just can't stop eating it. Just like that, Charlotte wolfed down a whole piece in an instant. She stares at the chunks before her, remembering what she thought of before, about good food tasting better when it's shared with others. Did she say something like that? Scratch that. Good food tastes best when she eats it alone, that's for sure. With that, Charlotte decides that she'll eat all of the barbecued Grand Boar steak so easily. This girl is gluttony in human form. Charlotte cleared the plate pretty easily, and like always, she expressed her gratitude for the food every time. She can't believe she was able to eat all of those Grand Boar steaks by herself. But there's something she finds strange. Even if the dishes were bigger than her body, she can eat monster food without limits. It's the same with the wolf monster. She grows appreciative of her gift, finding it truly amazing. Curiously enough, the materials are also way bigger this time, referring to the giant tusk, the only remaining part of the Grand Boar. Charlotte grabs it by both hands, determined to take them to the guild by herself, since if she doesn't do it, she won't get points on her card. Because you are a boss-class monster, your level increased by 5. Charlotte hears the voice in her ears again, followed by, Reward for eating Grand Boar. You have acquired the rare skill Infinite Item Box. A hole suddenly warps in front of Charlotte, shocking her, and just as suddenly it's gone. She focuses and cries, Open! Et voila, it's there again. She thrusts her hand inside and pulls out a branch, then proceeds to stick her hand inside again before breaking into a huge smile. Her rare skill, Infinite Item Box, allows the creation of a hole leading to another dimension where items can be stored without limit. Having just one person with this skill in a party of adventurers allows them to carry an immense amount of potions and supplies, so it's pretty handy changing the difficulty of dungeon exploration. Given how it's a powerful exploration skill, Charlotte is already brimming with excitement because this means it'll be super helpful during travels. There's no need to hold all her shopping bags during travel. She has a point though, because Charlotte has always wondered why stylish bags are always small. But with this mysterious magic hole, she can take a book for fun, bread to eat when she gets hungry, heck, she can carry whatever she wants. Oh, she can even store this giant tusk away right now. Charlotte makes her way back to the Adventurers Guild, heading straight to the front desk. She conjures her infinite item box and pulls the tusk out of it. Here it is. This is proof that she defeated the Grand Boar. The receptionist leans closer, amazed that our heroine can also use the item box, while Charlotte is happy to discover that the mysterious hole has a specific name. As expected of the waitress, she's really knowledgeable. Anyway, Charlotte hands over the tusk, asking if she can collect points with this material, so the receptionist takes it from her. The latter explains that since Charlotte defeated the Grand Boar alone, she will also get the points without splitting them. And because of that, the receptionist tells her that she's promoted to Gold Card. "Congratulations on your second promotion on your first day of registration," she says. Our heroine admires the card because this one is even shinier than her previous one. The lady at the front desk couldn't believe that anyone would reach the gold rank in a single day. Although Charlotte likes the gold card, her favorite is the diamond card, expressing how she wants to reach the top diamond rank soon. If it's her, the receptionist is pretty confident that our heroine can reach diamond quickly, prompting Charlotte to ask if she really believes so. There's an almost manic look in the receptionist's eyes as she moves closer, claiming that Charlotte could even reach diamond rank by next week. The sudden closeness leaves Charlotte a little awkward, but she thanks the receptionist for expressing her belief in her anyway. Since she's done with her business at the Adventurers Guild, she heads out and realizes that it's already evening. Now it's about time she heads to the inn the receptionist told her about. But she checks her gold card again, thinking about how a lot of things happened today. She started the day by visiting the restaurant called Adventurers Guild, where she ate a delicious sandwich. Then she also finally got her hands on the point card she always wanted. Let's not forget how she also got to eat a new delicious monster meal too. Oh, her bag! Charlotte puts her luggage in the item box and giggles because, with how things are looking, it looks like she's going to have lots of fun from now on. Charlotte happily skips along the city streets, excited at the thought of a comfy bed waiting for her at the inn. Later that night at the Adventurers Guild, the whole place is livelier than ever. A random adventurer is curious as to why the place is so loud today, and another answers that the receptionist is telling an amazing story of how an extraordinary hero has appeared. The front desk lady shows off the monster materials Charlotte surrendered earlier that day. Oh! The men crowd around the monster items, amazed at how Miss Charlotte managed to hunt so many monsters. She must be a remarkable person, no? The receptionist lady continues her tale of Charlotte, saying how the latter completed her registration as an adventurer successfully. But she got involved with the guild's troublemaker, Eric. In a fit of rage, Eric tried to hit her, but according to the receptionist, Charlotte took him down and sent Eric flying all the way to the fountain outside. Charlotte was so fast that even though the receptionist was standing close, she didn't understand what happened. One of the adventurers started to call bull on that. That story might be a bit exaggerated for Charlotte to take down Eric like that, the adventurer said, but to their surprise, a voice joins their conversation, saying what the receptionist was saying wasn't an exaggeration at all. Wait, that voice, could it be? They all turn to see, and it's Eric. They're even more shocked because he had cut his hair. What do you mean the story isn't exaggerated? They all ask Eric. The latter shares his own account, relaying how, when he tried to strike the golden-haired girl, Miss Charlotte, he found himself flying through the air before he even realized what had happened. Like the receptionist, he has no idea what went down. For so long, Eric has always been full of himself for being level 8, but when she asked him what level 8 really meant, he couldn't answer at all. Eric realized that he didn't understand anything, but through Charlotte's words and punches, he understood how small his strength is. Eric bows and apologizes to everyone for what he has done, promising to live seriously and with a changed heart from now on. Of course, the adventurers were quick to forgive him and offer their support to him. With that said, it just reinforced the idea of how amazing Miss Charlotte is because she even managed to deal with Eric. That's when the receptionist tells them that it's not all Charlotte accomplished today. What, there's more? This time, she tells them of how Miss Charlotte went to face the Grand Boar, like, what do you mean she defeated the Grand Boar? They cry out in shock in unison. Anyway, back to the retelling. The receptionist was talking to Charlotte when someone came in reporting that their team had spotted the monster. When the receptionist reverts her eyes back to Charlotte, she notices how the latter's expression had completely changed. Her face had totally become serious. Not known to them, that's Charlotte's face when she's craving meat. Suddenly, Charlotte dashed off toward the northern field without even accepting the quest. One of the adventurers asks why Charlotte did that. If you don't accept the request, you won't even get a single copper coin for killing the monster, he points out. The lady wags her finger and says she understands Charlotte's reason. In emergencies, quests are issued within about 10 minutes, but Miss Charlotte wanted to stop the damage that could spread during those 10 minutes, even if it meant giving up the reward. According to the receptionist, Charlotte's eyes in that moment clearly said, if I wait for the quest to be issued, someone in the city might get hurt. Nothing is more precious than human life. I don't want a reward. That look she gave the receptionist means that Charlotte will defeat the Grand Boar as soon as possible. Obviously, guys, the receptionist is just projecting her fantasies on Charlotte. Of course, the rest of the adventurers are quick to celebrate Charlotte and how she's such a remarkable person. This recount just moved their hearts, knowing what a noble character and high spirit this Miss Charlotte has. One of them even starts crying, ashamed because the only reason he fights monsters is to get the reward. The receptionist too was so moved that from now on she'll ensure that emergency quests are issued faster. She grabs her drink, teary-eyed, as she tells everybody how she's never felt this happy working at this guild as she did today. Given the miracle that happened today, she proposes a toast to celebrate the birth of their heroine. To Miss Charlotte Nevi, cheers! They cried in unison. From that point onward, the simple act Charlotte did out of her desire to eat monsters turned into a beautiful heroic legend that soon spread throughout the entire town. Meanwhile, in a ramshackle cabin somewhere in the forest, the thieves are celebrating their loot for the day. They're all laughing and in a good mood because clearly stealing is the best way to make money. Starting today, they will begin the perfect thief lifestyle in their humble hideout. But no sooner did their leader say that than the door burst open. "Stop right there! It's the Kingdom Knights!" One of the henchmen panics, wondering what to do, but their leader points out that they outnumber the knights. With that, he orders his men to take them down when suddenly one of their opponents single-handedly tackles the thieves. He took them down quickly, and it was not lost on the leader how skilled this man was. Who is that long-haired man? The thief leader decides to enter the fray, raising his sword high to strike down the long-haired man, only for the latter to disarm him with his back turned. It all happened so fast that before he could do anything, the bandit leader found himself with a blade placed right on his neck. "You!" He finally recognizes who the long-haired man is. It's Ozus Rodenheim, the first prince. The thief leader raises both hands in surrender, asking why the first prince is here. Ozus replies that if it means protecting the safety of his people, he'll go anywhere. Of course he would. But what the thief leader really wanted to ask was why the prince was so strong. Ozus instructs the knights to restrain everyone who has fallen to the ground. Soon, they got every thief bound, while the other knights admired his highness. This is the first prince who personally leads the knight battalion. Even today, Ozus neutralized half the bandits in the blink of an eye. Seeing him so well put together sets a great example among the knights, inspiring them to train more and to become more useful to the prince. Meanwhile, the prince's butler, Sebas, hands a handkerchief to his highness. Ozus removes his gloves to check the small cut on his right palm. Since that day, he has been working hard just to be noticed by her. He pulls a photograph out of his pocket, thinking that now, he's sure that he'll be able to come and see her, and the person he's referring to is none other than our heroine, Charlotte. Before Charlotte settled at her current inn, she first asked the receptionist if the latter knew of any inn in this town. Lucky for her, she has a recommendation in mind. Charlotte heads straight to the inn the receptionist mentioned, in awe because she has never been in an inn for common folks. She finds the place has a pretty unique charm and decides she'll stay at this town's inn. Our heroine cheerfully bursts through the door, asking if anyone is there. What greets her instead is a surly, intimidating older woman smoking a cigar. She blows the smoke while still maintaining eye contact with our frozen Charlotte. The older woman asks what a lady like Charlotte is doing in a place like this. Despite the unfriendly tone, Charlotte remains respectful as ever, saying she'd like to stay the night. "Huh? What are you talking about? This is a place for adventurers only. Go somewhere else," the lady grumpily said. "Eh? Did she just say adventurers?" Charlotte wonders if the term adventurers is the same as the Adventurers Guild restaurant that she knows. So does that mean it's members only? Oh, if that's the case, then she can just show them her points card, right? Someone really needs to explain this whole adventurer thing to Charlotte sooner rather than later. "Just a moment, please." "Charlotte," says the innkeeper, and to the latter's surprise, this chick has an item box. Isn't that a rare skill? One hardly sees anyone with a skill like that. Charlotte pulls out her adventurer's card and shows it to the older lady, making her more shocked than she already is. This girl is ranked gold, and her registration date is today too. The same day she reached gold. There's no doubt about it. This little miss has extraordinary power. While the innkeeper is having the time of her life, Charlotte goes on about how her favorite item on the menu is the sandwich. Without hesitation, the innkeeper hands Charlotte the key to her room, saying she's welcome to stay as long as she likes. "We'll always support you," the older lady adds, and our heroine couldn't be happier at how kind-hearted this lady is. Back in the guild, the receptionist is smiling to herself because she knows she did a good service today. You see, when you see a strong adventurer, you end up offering extra service unintentionally, which is exactly what happened earlier. Anyway, back to Charlotte. She heads straight to her room and is amazed at how tight it is. Despite that, she finds it refreshing. What's even more fun is that everyone bathes together, and the bed is not too soft, but it is comfortable. Charlotte was already feeling the bed that night when she sat upright, remembering that her clothes would get wrinkled. She pulls them out of her bag, thinking of what she would do tomorrow. Of course, it's a given that she'll have breakfast at the Adventurers Guild. Plus, it looks like they're open 24/7, so she can also head there anytime. As she folds her clothes, she thinks about how she wants to hunt monsters again and taste them. The only problem is that she didn't bring a lot of clothes, but that's okay. This means she can go shopping in town. She feels melancholic, thinking about how she wanted to go back home and get some clothes, but yeah, that's not happening. Charlotte lies in bed staring at the ceiling, thinking of her father and her family. There's also the maids whom she loves so much, but because she was exiled so suddenly, she wasn't even able to say goodbye. She feels sad that she'll never see her noble friends as well, making her put her hand over her heart. Does she really feel sad? No, it's hunger. Charlotte opens up her item box, rummaging frantically because she totally forgot about it. It's the sandwich she bought from the guild. Charlotte is in good spirits again, eager to eat the sandwich part set for dinner. As she starts munching on her food, she starts thinking that she'll meet everyone again someday. But tomorrow she'll keep devouring monsters with appetite in the meantime. Wait a minute, now that she remembers it, she also has to thank her private tutor. If he hadn't taught her magic, then Charlotte's not too sure what would have happened to her by now. Our heroine decides to write him a thank you letter. Charlotte starts her letter by thanking her tutor for the magic he taught her. It was because of that magic that she was able to protect herself and also devour delicious monsters like slime. She thanks the older man again before wrapping up the letter. Instead of feeling appreciative and proud of her achievements, Charlotte's tutor is left feeling confused because what did she mean by she's eating delicious monsters? Speaking of monsters, Charlotte also had her experimental phase with monsters. When she faced the Dreadwolf, she wondered what would happen if she used Poochie Ice instead. Poochie Fire gave her a T-bone steak, so maybe if she used Poochie Ice, she'd discover a new dish. Charlotte raised both her hands and unleashed Poochie Ice on the wolf, but to her horror, the monster disintegrated. Oh no, her meat is gone. And here come the regrets. If only I had used Poochie Fire, I would have had steak instead of freezing myself. Because of what happened, Charlotte vowed never to make that mistake again. Charlotte! The voice of a young boy can be heard on the palace grounds. It belongs to the young Prince Ozus, who is leading an equally young Charlotte to where the flowers have sweet and delicious nectar. He shows her how to suck the nectar, and Charlotte mirrors the gesture, surprised that it really tastes amazing. She flashes a blinding smile at the young prince, amazed because Ozus knows so many things. And that one moment was all it took for the young prince to fall so deeply in love with our heroine. At present, the kingdom welcomes the return of the royal battalion to the capital, led by Prince Ozus. The crowd cheers, showing that Ozus is well loved by everyone, excitedly calling out his name. The prince waves, thanking them for the warm welcome, and you can hear the people talking about how amazing the knights of the kingdom are. From what they heard, they captured a band of thieves for the sake of the people. With such a great example before them, even the kids dream of becoming strong like Prince Ozus. But he's not just strong, Ozus also possesses a sharp intellect that allowed him, even at this age, to contribute to the country's governance. On top of that, he has a kind heart that cares for the people. And let's not forget his handsome face to boot. The village girls are fawning over him because rumors say the prince is not engaged yet. The girl's friend scolds her, reminding the former that they're just commoners, and that what she's thinking is nothing but a pipe dream. But even the second girl is not immune to Ozus's charm, squealing as soon as he gave them a smile and a wave. A little girl excitedly runs in front, and in her hurry, she accidentally sends her ice cream flying straight to Prince Ozus's cheek, and the world stopped. The people, the knights, everyone paled at the embarrassment that happened to the prince. Even the little girl couldn't believe what she had done. Her mother puts her arm over her daughter, apologizing profusely for what the girl did to the prince. "Please, she didn't mean it. Please forgive her," the older woman cried. While the girl did the same, Ozus approaches them and crouches in front of the girl with a smile. He assures them that there's nothing to be sorry about. Besides, this is also part of their warm welcome, and it makes him really happy. Ozus wipes the girl's tears with his handkerchief before doing the same on his soiled cheek. "You'll really forgive me?" she asks His Highness. Of course he will. This thing can be wiped off easily, and besides, lemon ice cream is one of the prince's favorite treats, licking his lips as he said so. Ozus calls Sebas, instructing him to buy the girl a new ice cream, making sure not to forget the toppings, which the older man quickly does. If things were left as they are, then the girl would regret what happened forever. To prevent that, the prince gave her a happy memory instead, which is a gesture of kindness and care for the little girl. Thanks to Prince Ozus Rodenheim's noble character and true strength, he's immensely popular among the people. Fast forward several hours, a carriage makes its way through the forest. Inside, Prince Ozus looks so nervous that he almost looks like he's constipated. He wipes the sweat off his brow while Sebas worries because the prince must be tired due to their visit to the marquis's estate. Ozus assures the older man that he's fine. "Sebas, I've made up my mind. Today I will propose to Charlotte," the prince valiantly proclaims. But the realization of what he said hit him like a brick, and Ozus almost folded over and threw up because his nerves were getting the better of him. "Ah, I feel like my heart is going to explode," the prince cries dramatically over the carriage seat, while Sebas is all over him. "Don't worry, it's your highness, of course you'll succeed." The older man cheers Ozus on. Sebas goes ahead and lists down all the prince's qualities, starting from his looks to his status, down to his character, urging Ozus to have confidence in himself. Sebas knows how hard Ozus worked for this day, and hearing that somewhat grounded his highness. "Thank you, Sebas, I'm completely ready," he proudly proclaims. Even though Ozus can't usually speak to her today, he intends to look Charlotte straight in the eyes and finally tell her what's in his heart. "Boy, have we got bad news for you." And yeah, the Marquis Mashnevi proudly told the prince that he kicked Charlotte out. A sudden darkness befalls Ozus's face while Sebas pales right behind him. The Marquis, on the other hand, fails to notice the change in atmosphere. Like his daughter, this man is pretty dense. He smiles, offering fine tea to the prince, but no, Ozus says there's no need for that. He hides the bouquet of flowers in his back, asking what the Marquis meant when he said that he kicked Charlotte out. "Oh yes, I kicked her out," the Marquis reiterates. He goes on about how his daughter just turned 15 and received her gift. But in his opinion, hers is a disgusting gift. He can't even say the gift out loud in front of Ozus since it was too vulgar. "So do I. Told her, you're unfit to be part of the Marquis's family. And I cast her out," Charlotte's father happily recounts. Finally, Ozus opens his mouth to speak. In a quiet voice, he asks, "You said you cast her out. To which city did you send her?" "Huh? City?" The Marquis says he didn't send Charlotte to any particular city. He just tossed her out the front gate. Hearing such cruelty done to the love of his life made Ozus grip the bouquet harder, doing his best to remain composed. The Marquis's housemaid, who has been listening quietly yet trembling all this time, became even more fearful as Charlotte's father continued babbling about what he did to her daughter. Considering the forest around the Nevi Palace may not be the most dangerous, it does have monsters. Unlike the Marquis's son, Charlotte was never trained in swordsmanship or combat of any kind. So right at this moment, the Marquis carelessly says Charlotte might have already been eaten by monsters like slimes or wolves. And that was the straw that broke the camel's back. By now, Ozus is fuming, and here the Marquis has the guts to complain, sharing how his son opposes him and everything, and that the servants have suddenly started quitting. Speaking of servants, the maid discreetly leaves the scene of the crime, while the prince takes a step forward toward the Marquis. "Marquis Nevi, do you know why I came to your mansion today?" the prince asks. The older man turns to him saying, "Of course. You came to strengthen ties with the noble house of Nevi, right?" Charlotte's father also believes Ozus came all the way there to reinforce the foundations of the kingdom, but the prince cuts him off, saying he was wrong. Then why is the prince here? Finally, Charlotte's father starts paying attention to Ozus and notices the bouquet in his highness's hand. Ozus grips the bouquet tightly before shoving it right into the Marquis's face, saying he came here today to propose to Charlotte. His frequent visits to the mansion were purely to see Charlotte, and meeting the Marquis was merely incidental. Ozus goes on about how his heart has belonged to Charlotte ever since he saw her smile when she visited the royal palace at the age of 5. Since then, he has worked on improving himself to become worthy of her. He worked so hard that people ended up calling him the perfect prince. And yet, Charlotte only ever saw Ozus as a childhood friend. The Marquis asks why the prince decided to propose now, of all times. After a beat, Ozus admits it's because he simply lacked the courage to do so. He tried many times to propose to her before, but whenever she's in front of him, Ozus gets so nervous that he can't get the words out. In this matter, the prince says he'll take full responsibility and has no intention to blame the Marquis. However, the fact that the older man cast Charlotte out, just what exactly did the Marquis mean by that? Just uttering those words is enough to make Ozus fume again. The older man stutters while Ozus asks him this. "In your opinion, what state is Charlotte in right now? The words you said earlier, I want you to repeat them again." His Highness looked at the Marquis so coldly that the older man started spewing lies, saying Charlotte must have reached the city by now and is resting peacefully. The answer earned him a glare from Ozus. "Why lie? Maybe a slime or a wolf has eaten her by now. Isn't that what you said yourself?" Charlotte's father finally gave way, fearing what the prince would do. Ozus says that from this moment forward he will mobilize all available resources to search for Charlotte, and that the Marquis will do the same. The older man quickly obliges while the prince continues that if anything happens to her, he trails off, leaving the Marquis even more panicked. What? What will happen? Will I be removed from my post or demoted to a count? Ozus says that's not it, as the Marquis even grows more fearful if he's being demoted to a viscount. Still, Ozus says no, so the older man asks more frantically now if he will become a commoner. This time, the prince did not answer and instructed Sebas to begin taking the measurements. The butler did as his master told while the Marquis remained slumped on the floor, wondering what the measurements would be used for. "Your Highness, what's going on?" he asks. The prince says the measurements are for constructing a custom execution platform for the marquis. Hearing that just made all the blood drain from the older man's face as he started to tremble. The prince continues that if what the marquis said is true and something has happened to Charlotte, or if she has died and they are unable to find her and she is not returned within a week, then Marquis Nevi will ascend his own custom execution platform. Charlotte's father almost passed out upon hearing the prince's ultimatum. So despite having no clear leads, a massive search operation was launched to find her. 3 days after Charlotte's exile, the Marquis became bedridden, growing more fearful by the minute, yet ordering the servants to search for his daughter. Meanwhile, in another forest, Charlotte is out on a chase, excited because she'll be devouring this legendary delicious monster. Her eyes twinkle at the sight of this brand new ingredient that's within her grasp. The story so far, Charlotte was suddenly kicked out of the Marquis's house, but right now she's living energetically, devouring one monster after another. She's hiding, listening for a certain monster, wondering if she'll be able to catch this creature. What she does know is that her heart is pounding with excitement. Our heroine has always easily subdued all of the monsters she encountered before, but it looks like she can't eat monster meat easily today because all the monsters she's facing are incredibly strong. So how did she end up in this situation? Let's wind it back to several hours ago. Our heroine begins every day in a good mood, brimming with good energy as she waltzes inside the Adventurers Guild, which she still thinks is just another restaurant, by the way. She always starts her day with a luxurious breakfast there. And because the receptionist relayed to the whole guild back then the legend of Charlotte, some of the adventurers easily recognize her. 2 random adventurers approach and greet her with a good morning. Of course, the clueless Charlotte greets them all the same without realizing it. For a moment it made her wonder if this was the first step to becoming a regular customer. On the receiving end, the guys were just so happy they got to meet the city's heroine, the Miss Charlotte. Our little miss had no idea that she had become worshipped like a goddess within the guild. But enough of that. It's time to do what she does best. Eat. And right before her is her favorite sandwich. Today's sandwich is raw ham and fresh morning lettuce served with steamed potatoes. Charlotte takes a bite, and as a food enjoyer, of course, she has a lot to say. It's delicious. Nothing beats this sandwich in the morning, she thought. This is the very reason why she goes to the Adventurers Guild daily. As she continues her meal, she wonders what kind of monster she'll eat today. Maybe a new forest she hasn't visited yet would be a good choice. This girl really only thinks about food. She's thinking about food while eating food. "Milady!" a voice cries from the entryway, and there stood a girl wearing a maid's uniform, carrying a backpack. "Mary!" Charlotte stands from her seat, surprised to see a familiar face. This Mary girl starts crying, saying she's been looking for Charlotte this whole time. Our heroine opens her arms just as Mary runs straight to hug Charlotte. She's so relieved to see Charlotte is safe. This girl's name is Mary, and she used to be Charlotte's personal maid back at the Marquis's house. They grew up together since childhood, and she was always honest and kind, just like a little sister to Charlotte. Mary is bawling her eyes out, relieved to see that Charlotte is doing okay. The latter, on the other hand, is way too chill and even offers a bite of her meal to the crying maid. "Calm down, Mary, why are you here?" Mary takes a bite first as she begins the long story of what happened. It all began the night Charlotte was kicked out. As it happened that day, Mary was out on a shopping errand when the Marquis kicked the young miss out. Naturally, Mary was pissed about it, thinking that if this house is falling apart, then so be it. That's when the door to the Marquis's study burst open and in came Jess Nevi, Charlotte's older brother. The young lord is distressed upon discovering what happened to his younger sister. "What do you mean by kicking Charlotte out?" Jess asks his father. The older man turned, annoyed that his son started yelling as soon as he set foot in the manor. But Jess continued, saying he heard from the servants that the Marquis kicked Charlotte out because of her gift. "That's insane. How could you do this to my pure noble sister? The real disgrace is you," the younger man yells. But the Marquis fires back that Charlotte is a disgrace to the house of the Marquis. Moreover, is this how a son should speak to his father? The Marquis didn't like his son's tone, threatening the younger man with being kicked out too. But Jess doubled down, eager to throw hands, so Mary and the house butler had to stop him from attacking the Marquis. In the end, the young lord stormed out of the room, still fuming about the Marquis. "Father has lost his mind," he says, adding that it won't be long before the curse of the heavens falls upon his old man. The butler apologizes since they weren't able to do anything about it. But Jess has already decided that he'll search the forest for Charlotte himself. He believes his little sister must be on the road leading out. Unfortunately for him, the house butler reminded Jess that tomorrow morning he has an important meeting. Plus, there are official documents that need completing as well. Jess can only curse and grit his teeth, and that's when Mary asks for a day off from her duties as a maid. She will follow Charlotte herself. You see, Mary was just an orphaned girl back then, but it was Charlotte who took her hand, letting her become a maid in the Marquis' household. For Mary, Charlotte is her savior, which is why she wants to repay her mistress. She wants to save Charlotte. Jess doesn't doubt the maid's loyalty and instructs her to take the pouch that repels monsters in his room as she goes. He rummages through his coat pocket and hands Mary a small item, telling her to give that to Charlotte too. With that said, Jess says he'll count on Mary to protect his sister. That same night, Mary marches off into the woods with a lamp and a backpack, leaving the Marquis's house behind. Walking through the forest was like taking a stroll along the park. Jurassic Park, that is. Mary soon discovered how hard it was, traversing pitch-black darkness, stumbling confused as she did her best, trying to find Charlotte. Thankfully, she arrived in the city in the morning, which brings us to the present. Charlotte feels bad for her maid, already imagining the challenges she went through just to find her. Despite the one struggling, Mary is more scared about the idea that some monster may have devoured the young miss, imagining the worst-case scenario multiple times back then. But now she's glad to see that Charlotte is safe. Upon hearing that, our heroine wanted to clarify that it was the other way around. She was the one devouring the monsters. Anyway, she's curious. What did her brother give to Mary? When she heard that, the maid started rummaging through her backpack and showed Charlotte a key. A few minutes later, Charlotte couldn't believe her eyes. Pristine living area and multiple rooms on the second floor? She opens the casement window, shouting how amazing this house is. Mary had just finished bathing, saying it's Jess's summer home. Charlotte's older brother wanted Charlotte to use it. Of course, she's happy to hear that, especially since this house is too big for her to live in alone. At that, Mary goes on one knee, asking if Charlotte can hire her again as a maid in this house. Ever since they first met, even when she was just a novice maid learning the ropes, Charlotte had always been kind to her. For all Mary knows, she can never express how grateful she is to the young miss, and that she wants to stay by Charlotte's side for the rest of her life. She won't even ask for any pay. She'll work somewhere else to earn her daily bread, but before Mary can ask the big question, Charlotte already has an answer. Rejected. Mary starts bawling and bangs her forehead against the floor while Charlotte starts rummaging through her bag, saying Mary can't do that. That's when the young miss produced a gold coin. I won't let you work without pay. If you're going to work for me, you'll get a proper salary. Besides, Charlotte doesn't think she could live without Mary anymore after being with her for so long back in the Marquis' house. So this means they'll be together forever. Mary starts bawling even harder, clinging to Charlotte as she does so. While the former is crying her heart out, there's Charlotte, who enjoys ruffling Mary's hair. She can't help it. Mary's hair is so soft and silky, like a cat's. Mary quickly sits up, apologizing for her excessive crying and assuring Charlotte that she's fine now. If that's the case, our heroine suggests they go out. Charlotte is all fired up, saying they should eat something delicious, to which Mary innocently asks, "Didn't we just eat a little while ago?" Half an hour later in the forest, a scream echoes across the trees. A dreadwolf has appeared, snarling before them. "Run, milady, quick!" Mary says in a trembling voice. While she puts herself between Charlotte and the creature despite being scared, her mistress tells her not to worry. But now that she thinks about it, Mary asks why they came to the forest for food. They're the ones getting here, not the other way around. "That's not true! Monsters may look scary, but in reality, they're very weak creatures," Charlotte replies. As proof, she gives a first-hand demo, extending her hand right in front of the dreadwolf. Mary screams, and it gets even louder when she sees how the wolf's teeth fell off as soon as it bit Charlotte's hand. Suddenly, the maid is intrigued, asking her mistress what happened. It doesn't make sense at all. The poor toothless wolf also listens, shocked at its sudden loss of teeth. "Did you mean my skin is as hard as iron now?" Charlotte asks innocently. "But no, it's not that. The monsters are just weak." She raises both hands and unleashes Poochie Fire at point-blank range and Kamehameha'd the poor thing. "See?" Mary stood frozen there, pointing out that the monsters aren't weak. It's Charlotte who is the unnatural one. But her mistress insists that she's just an ordinary girl. Mary's eyes widen at the magic she sees next. Suddenly, Charlotte is holding a plate of steak. How is this possible? Her mistress explains that it's the effect of her gift, Monster Eater. Any monster she kills automatically turns into a cooked meal. Mary can't believe it, something Charlotte initially felt too the first time she experienced it. Suddenly, Charlotte remembers something. She asks Mary if she could help her for a bit, which the latter readily does. Charlotte conjures her item box and pulls a table out of the hole like a rabbit in a magician's hat. "You even brought a table and a chair?" Mary asks incredulously. She asks where it came from, so Charlotte explains this time how she learned the skill Toolbox yesterday. With this, she can store anything inside the portal, which is super convenient. As for the chairs and table, Charlotte actually pulled those from the summer house a while ago. Our girl already had an inkling that she would be eating monster meat later. "See? There's no need to fear the forest, Mary. Now say ah!" "Charlotte," she tells her. But no sooner had the meat come in close contact with Mary's mouth than it suddenly disintegrated. Well, it looks like that's how it is with Charlotte's gift. No one can eat it except her. "New discovery, sorry, Mary," she says nonchalantly, while Mary can only sit there and watch the young miss feast on the steak. She starts eating it vigorously before the meat gets cold. As soon as she finished her meal, there it was again, the ringing in her ears. aka the voice informing Charlotte that she had leveled up. This time, the voice says that on top of her level increasing, she also gained a permanent skill, sensing. Level 6 has evolved to level 7. Charlotte quickly sits up, looking curiously around her. She quickly shoves the table and chairs inside the toolbox and tells Mary they need to move now. Of course, Mary is curious, asking what it is. They start walking as Charlotte explains that her senses sharpen more and more every time she eats monster meat, thanks to her skill. She can even pinpoint their exact location now. Mary is amazed, and no sooner had she said that than Charlotte finally discovered the thing she had been sensing. She squats right next to a fairy ring. They're mushrooms. Looking at them like this, Charlotte notes how they were so small, but she just knows they're a different kind since she has never sensed an aura like theirs before. Mary looks at them curiously, asking if those are really monsters because they look just like ordinary mushrooms. Charlotte leans closer to inspect them. Mary's right, they don't look like monsters at all, but there's definitely some strange energy in them. At times like this, it's best to pull that thing out. Charlotte conjures her toolbox again and pulls the monster encyclopedia she bought from the guild. Thanks to this book, she can identify any monster no matter what. Charlotte starts flipping through the pages until she finally finds them. They're called mandragora, a mushroom-type monster. They're classified as monsters, but they don't move. According to the book, they're very rare and hard to find. The mandragora has many medical benefits and sells for 20 gold coins each. Mary's eyes twinkle. She likes the sound of that. Suddenly, she grabs one of the mandragora, excited because they're going to make a fortune. As she was about to pull one, Charlotte told her to wait and continued reading. When uprooted, it lets out a scream, and any human who hears it loses their mind and dies. So they're like mandrakes? Mary has never moved her hand away that fast in life, afraid for her life. Charlotte, on the other hand, discovers that the only way to eat it is to uproot it. Because the mandragora is poisonous in its current state, the poison will only dissolve and become safe to eat if its full body is exposed to sunlight after uprooting. Eh? Mary points out that if they only eat the visible part without uprooting, then they'll die from the poison instantly. And if they uproot it, they'll die from its scream. It's a lose-lose situation. Mary starts to stress because this monster is so complicated. No wonder it sells for 20 gold coins. Charlotte closes her book and says she'll try something. She'll see if she can cook it with magic directly before uprooting it. She Poochie fires the mushroom, but alas, the mandragora turned into charcoal. She sighs because as long as the mushroom's poison is in effect, her gift can't cook it. Mary asks if Charlotte can use any other magic, with the latter saying she only knows Poochie fire and Poochie ice. She's just an ordinary daughter of a marquis, you know? The two sit together in silence as Charlotte admits that this mandragora is pretty tough, which just makes her want it more. Charlotte is determined to eat this monster no matter what. Meanwhile, Mary is fueled by her intent to sell it and turn it into gold no matter what. The mandragora monster. The scream it lets out when uprooted kills whoever hears it, and if it's eaten without uprooting, its poison kills whoever consumes it. It really is a rare and troublesome monster. As hopeless as it sounds, there are actually two safe ways to capture it. First, you uproot it, and then within 0.01 seconds, it must be destroyed. If it's done within that extremely short time, the scream can be avoided. The other way to capture it is to tie a rope to a well-trained dog, move far away, then call the dog to pull it out. That way, the mandragora can be captured safely. But as for the dog, Charlotte and Mary couldn't finish the entry. They can't do that to a dog, that's just way too cruel. Well, Charlotte has searched the encyclopedia for a safe way to capture it, but she just can't do that to a dog. Mary adds that even the first method is way too hard for them. They have to uproot and destroy it within seconds? Impossible. They're starting to feel hopeless. Charlotte hangs her head low, sad because she wanted to eat the mushroom. Mary tries to cheer her up. They're sure to come up with a new plan and take revenge on the mandragora. There might be other mushroom monsters. Mary wants to see them. At the mention of other mushroom monsters, Charlotte looks to her right. They look just like that creature over there. She finally smiles while Mary pales. Huh? What in the dungeon, Meshi? Charlotte even finds the monster adorable, walking clumsily like that. Mary sticks to her like glue, grossed out by the walking mushroom monster. Eh? But didn't she just say a while ago that she wanted to see other mushroom monsters? Looks like Mary had already changed her mind, huh? I changed my mind! There, she said it! Charlotte explains that this monster is called a matango. It paralyzes anyone who comes near using paralyzing spores, then grows mushrooms in them. Just hearing that made Mary's skin crawl. She tries to pull Charlotte away, saying they should run away, but Charlotte just Poochie fired the creature. The next moment, she's pulling the chair and table out of the toolbox again, excited to have a small meal. Mary's taken aback at how the young miss is astonishingly brave, while Charlotte's attention is solely focused on the dish before her. Butter-fried mushrooms. She takes the plate in her hands, noting how heavy it is, and takes the first bite. So delicious. She cries aloud, as if we've ever seen her not enjoy any monster meat she has eaten so far. The mushrooms have a pretty firm texture coated with delicious roasted butter. You know, when it comes to mushrooms, they're usually used as a garnish or as an ingredient in sauces. Simply put, they're basically seen as just a side ingredient. But gobbling these tasty mushrooms right now, Charlotte knows they're a true main dish with how delicious they are. Mary can only watch in awe as the young miss eats. Even if it's a monster, seeing Charlotte eat it made it look super appetizing. Charlotte feels bad about the way Mary can only watch while she eats, which is why she thinks they also need to find monsters that she can eat too. By eating the monster, your level has increased, the voice tells Charlotte. This time it told her that she also has acquired the spell, Paralyze. Charlotte immediately gets up from her seat. Hooray, she beams because she can finally use magic now. For the first time, she liked what she heard because usually the voices she hears say meaningless things, at least for her. We all know what her skills do. Mary shares her excitement, asking what kind of magic it is. Before she can explain, a dreadwolf appears out of the bushes and approaches them. Perfect. Now she can just show Mary what her new skill is. Paralyze! A wisp of smoke emits from her hands, and as soon as the wolf came in contact with it, it dropped to the ground like a rock. Oh, so it literally paralyzes. Charlotte thinks that it's a spell that releases yellow smoke and causes paralysis. She used Poochie Fire on the wolf and had a little meal again while Mary watched with a watering mouth. Wait a minute, if they use Paralyze on the Mandragora before uprooting it, then they can pull it out without it screaming, right? Mary finds this brilliant and suggests they try it right away. Charlotte stands next to the Mandragora, hovering her hands over them as she unleashes Paralyze on a pair of mushrooms. Both of them grab a piece and on the count of 3 pull it off the ground. It didn't scream, Mary happily says. Plus, the Mandragora's color changed because of the sunlight. The poison has come out. Both ladies high-fived for successfully defeating the Mandragora. All right, it's time to get to work. Mary already has a knife in her hand as she intends to cut it and take it with them. As for the one in Charlotte's hands, you already know it. Poochie Fire incinerated the lone mushroom, which turned into a small plate of fried mushrooms. The portion is a bit smaller than the others she's had so far, but it doesn't decrease Charlotte's interest in the dish. She hurriedly takes a bite, excited for its taste. To our surprise, she doesn't fawn over this one like the others. Huh? She chews thoroughly before Mary asks how it tasted. Well, it tasted very ordinary, according to Charlotte's taste buds. Sure, the texture is super soft and chewy, and it's tasty. Ah, Charlotte finally places a dish similar to this. It tastes exactly like the mushrooms her mother used as appetizers in her dishes. Mary feels bad, commenting that if a chef heard that, he'd cry. Anyway, Charlotte puts the tableware away again and says the next time she finds another Mandragora, she'll just catch it and sell it. By eating the monster, your level has increased. Rare Monster Mandragora Devouring Bonus. You've acquired the rare permanent skill, Complete Immunity to Status Effects. The voice in Charlotte's ear announces. She can only frown because she has no idea what it's saying. Just then she hears rustling, and before she or Mary can do anything, a rabbit-like creature runs past their feet. What is that? Charlotte has never seen anything like it. But Mary knows what it is. It's a jackalope. It's a rabbit with deer antlers. It's considered a mythical monster, and according to legend, whoever catches it will be blessed with luck. Legendary? Did she say legendary? That's the only word Charlotte zeroed in on. Mary, on the other hand, is feeling giddy just by seeing it, because it was still considered good luck. She just didn't expect it to be that fast. With the speed of her current spells, she won't be able to hit it. Then here's Charlotte, all fired up because finally, a legendary monster. Her curiosity is sparked, wondering what a monster like that will taste like. This alarms Mary. "Milady, are you planning to kill the jackalope? That's crazy," she asks. Charlotte does know that it is crazy, but the thing is, she believes that the food they eat after overcoming hardships has to taste even better. The maid is shocked at how easily her mistress bounced back from the taste of the tender and cold Mandragora. And yet Charlotte's eyes are filled with resolve. As her maid, of course, Mary will also help. She suggests they come up with a plan to take on the speedy monster. Charlotte couldn't be more thankful. She feels like the jackalope's energy is now about 1 kilometer away. It reached that far in an instant. Mary is amazed that Charlotte can sense monster energy like that. Now, if only the jackalope would pass by them again like before. But with that speed, hitting it with magic is really hard. That's when Charlotte notices something strange on the ground. She kneels right next to it, seeing how the jackalope's trail is clear. The grass is unnaturally bent. Mary explains that the path is called a monster trail. When an animal passes through an area often, the grass bends or withers, thus creating a path. She adds that there may be a good chance the jackalope will pass through here again. Wait a minute, that's it. Charlotte has an idea, so she turns to Mary asking for help. After 5 minutes, somewhere in the forest, the little jackalope is munching on grass when it hears a scream from behind. Mary appears with her hands up, chasing the little runt. "I'll eat you now," she says. So what exactly was their plan? Well, Charlotte wants Mary to chase the jackalope, but the latter points out that there's no way she could catch up to the monster. "It's fine if you can't catch up, I just want you to chase it from behind and guide the jackalope towards the monster trail," Charlotte says. True enough, the jackalope returns to its usual trail while Charlotte waits on the other end. She's getting excited because she can feel the energy getting closer, while the jackalope is too focused on running away. That's when the little runt slipped. Charlotte actually Poochie iced the ground, and because the jackalope was busy running, it failed to notice it. But that's not all. In the air, Charlotte also unleashed smoke from the paralyze spell. The jackalope fell to the ground with a thud. Its slowed movement gave Charlotte the chance to Poochie fire the monster. Charlotte blasted the jackalope with fire magic, instantly killing it. Yes, she actually did it. The usual poof sounded, signaling that the monster had turned into a dish. To her amazement, it turned into a delicious soup. Charlotte takes the bowl in her hands, smelling its savory aroma. But this time, Charlotte didn't want to pull out the tableware out of excitement so she could taste it right away. She dunks her spoon in the soup, and after blowing it a little, she finally takes a bite. It's back! Charlotte's excited face is back. The dish is so delicious. The jackalope meat is so tender and it's soft like silk. This is totally different from those juicy steaks she had before because it gently melts in her mouth. Charlotte continues to eat heartily, thinking that she could eat multiple plates of this and never get tired of it. She savors the meal because this is the luck the jackalope brought her, an endless appetite. By eating the monster, your level has increased. Rare monster, jackalope, devouring bonus. You've acquired the rare permanent skill resistance to all magic. Charlotte can only smile because again, she doesn't understand what it all means. Be that as it may, at least she's satisfied with her monster meal. Mary appears, panting and asking how the young mistress was feeling. Charlotte immediately hugs her maid, thanking her because they achieved overwhelming success. Mary is glad to hear that when her eyes shift to the smoky forest yonder. "Why is everything there completely yellow?" she asks, panicked. It's practically the forest of paralysis at this point. Mary asks her mistress how many times she used the paralyze spell. Looking at her work, Charlotte lost count and used it way too many times. In her defense, she didn't want to fail. "Still, wasn't it dangerous for you to stay in all that smoke?" Mary asks. Charlotte assures her that she's totally fine, so the former thinks that maybe the spell doesn't affect the young miss. Well, that's not the reason. It's actually because of the skill Charlotte obtained when she caught the mandragora. Complete immunity to status effects. Because of that, Charlotte avoided paralysis even while surrounded by thick paralyzed smoke. Then, by catching the jackalope, Charlotte gained a new skill, resistance to all magic. This skill reduces the effects of all magical attacks by half. So far, Charlotte has an automatic counter that reflects physical attacks, immunity to status effects, and magic resistance. After eating just 5 monsters in this single meal, she reached level 39. Our heroine is now very close to being considered invincible, but even she hasn't realized how strong and grown she has become. Satisfied with everything they did that day, Charlotte says they should return to the city and sell the mandragora. Plus, they need to start preparing for the new life celebration party. Mary agrees and even promises to prepare a luxurious feast. Even though Charlotte had just eaten, she was already brimming with excitement at that again.